Hi, and welcome to the general reading for Monday, May 20th, 2019. So, it doesn't have to be May 20th, 2019 in order for you to get something out of this video. This video is timeless. You can watch it anytime you want. It's just, we're talking about the next 7 days, okay? So this is going to apply to the next 7 days of your life no matter when you watch it, okay? So basically what we're looking for is dynamics, themes, maybe some predictions, what you can look for there. Hopefully some, sometimes we get some warnings, sometimes we get good news, that kind of thing. And that's the general gist of the readings that I post on Mondays. That said, I just wanted to share with you guys how I actually shuffle the decks. Now, most of my readings that I put on my channel are pre-recorded, but what I do is that I take the date that they're going to be put up, and I take every single deck that I use, and I shuffle it until it feels right. And then once I'm done doing that, then I cut the deck the amount of days it is. So for example, today I cut the deck 20 times. All right. So I just thought you guys might want to know that. That said, let's go ahead and get started on the reading, okay? Pile number 1 is the orange Garfield cat. Pile number 2 is the gray Tabby cat. Pile number 3 is the spotted Aussie cat. Pile number 4 is the black and white Tuxedo Cat. Pile number 5 is the, I blanked on the name, the Siamese Cat. And pile number 6 is the Persian Cat. Alright, so while you guys are making your decision of which one resonates the most, which one you're drawn to, I just wanted to go ahead and say anything you need to know about me is going to be in the description. That includes ways to contact me, my readings and their prices and that kind of stuff, and just some links and stuff like that, okay? Alright, so that said, if you have not picked your pile, go ahead and pause the video, otherwise we are going to get started. Okay, and this is the part where I always feel kind of awkward, because I always move these around so you guys can see. Okay. Alright, pile number 1, those of you who picked the orange Garfield cat, as my partner likes to say it. We have Justice, the 9 of Cups, and the 3 of Wands. We have the Ship, which is modified by the child. Okay, we have Dreams in the 7th chakra right here. And we have the Staff. Okay. Let me... Sorry, I thought I was gonna sneeze. Now I'm so embarrassed. And I know that I'm gonna keep it in anyway, even though I'm embarrassed. Okay, let me just go ahead and focus in on this. Okay, and I think the 3rd eye chakra is actually the 6th chakra, not the 7th. I apologize. Okay. Alright, I like to start with the tarot. Alright, looks like some truth is going to be coming out this week. If it's not like truth about something, it's going to be like something happens this week that's going to be really fair. Okay, another thing that this indicates is that you might want to kind of like up your objectivity this week. Be careful about making statements that are fact, that are actually your opinions, that kind of thing. Just know that people might ask you to back up what you say, and to be kind of careful about that. That's, and I feel like that's only for a few of you, but did need to come out. But yeah, this is mostly about finding the truth, okay? So this week you're going to be dealing with factual stuff, okay? You're going to be dealing with things that are true, or things that are true, okay? And then again, that fairness, there's a sense that this week's going to feel fair, okay? So if you've, done or said something that was kind of nasty, maybe you'll have a nasty week. Or if you've done or said some things that are very kind, maybe you'll have a very kind week. That's what that implies. It does look like you're going to get some emotional satisfaction this week, okay? That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be in love. It usually is. But your relationships are going to be particularly rewarding. You're not going to feel like your emotional needs aren't met, basically. Do understand that this also means, you know, you've got your own responsibility to yourself to make your to meet your own emotional needs. So do understand that could be playing a part too. It could be you becoming more I guess, adept at filling your own emotional needs. And I know that for me, that kind of goes up and down, you know, because my life is always changing and all of that stuff. If there's something that you've been waiting for, like something to happen that you've been waiting for, it looks like it's not quite going to happen this week. If it does, it will be at the very, very end, okay? So do keep that in mind. However, this card is coming up to just kind of reassure you, yes, you're supposed to wait. It's okay. At least give it another 2 weeks, okay? So whatever that is, do keep that in mind. I feel like for some of you, like enough of you, it's going to be like either selling a house or selling something, you know, that's kind of a value, and you're waiting for somebody to either make an offer, or you're waiting for like you're waiting for the process to go through. And it might not even be selling like a house or a car. It could be even like that you're waiting for the results of a loan, for example, or maybe you're waiting to inherit money, or just something like that. It's like there's some kind of financial thing, and that's what I'm getting for enough of you to mention it, okay? So the chakra that we're focusing on this week for you guys is going to be your third eye chakra, okay? And what you're going to find is that you are getting a lot of spiritual guidance through your dreams. Now, whether you interpret that as coming from God, the universe, spirit, your higher self, you know, whatever, is up to you. But what I'm getting is just that you're going to have some spiritual awakening happening through your dreams. Understand that even if you don't remember your dreams, you'll still be getting this. For those of you who, like me, kind of like zone out sometimes and just kind of daydream or kind of just like let your mind wander, you know, you'll be receiving it through that way too. Okay, it's basically if you're in any kind of trance state, so this would be through meditation, dreaming, like I said, zoning out. It could be like when you're playing a sport, or when you're playing music. Sometimes people describe getting into zone. When you're in that kind of place, you're going to be very receptive to that, okay? And do understand, again, if you don't remember your dreams, and that's the only way that you really get into that zone, do understand that doesn't mean that you're not receiving the messages. It's just, it's happening on a spiritual level. You're going to be feeling a little bit more like a higher vibration, like you're more aware of things, okay? And that's because you're kind of like downloading information, okay? So we have the staff, and we're talking about stability, but we're also talking about discipline, okay? So for this, you know, I mean, it's two things really. Okay, so yeah, stability, of course. You know, I meant two additional things. So yeah, this week does feel very stable, especially with this truth going on, you know, and all of that kind of stuff, and the fairness and that kind of thing. It does feel like you're going to have a pretty positive week. Another thing that I can say is that you're going to find yourself having a lot of discipline this week. So I would say take advantage of that. Even if you normally have a lot of discipline in your life, it's like this week you're going to be kind of superpowered on that. So take advantage of that to get stuff done, you know? I talk about like getting in that get stuff done mode. And sometimes, like for me, it'll come in kind of like spurts, you know? It's not like a consistent thing. For me, it's like I get a bunch of stuff done all at once, and then, you know, I might not get as much stuff done for a couple of days, you know, that kind of thing. Just know that you'll be in get stuff done mode this whole week. So now would be the time to like clean out the garage, or you know, whatever it is that you've been putting off, maybe that kind of stuff. I just say clean out the garage because that's the thing that my partner always puts off, so it's the easiest one for me to mention. And of course I don't want to talk about myself, you know, obviously. and then the other thing is that it's almost like there's going to be something that you can lean on as well. So in the way that I interpret that is that even though the picture in my head is very physical, like you could literally lean on something to keep yourself You know, it's like, I also feel like it's kind of like you have more resources than you need this week. So it's like, for example, you might have more energy than you need in order to get a project done, for example. Or you have more money than you need to make the purchases you want. Or, you know, you have more advice than you need on a problem, you know, that kind of thing. So it's like you have stuff to lean on, you have enough resources, you know. There's definitely not a feeling of spending a whole lot of energy or money or time and that kind of stuff. It just feels like it's a really nice flow. Okay, and then we have some kind of either new longing, so you might come up with a new desire, like it's something new that you want to explore. Okay, so there's that. Or, and I think this is actually going to be true for more of you guys, you guys might be planning some kind of trip, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a long trip. You know, I know we have this big big ship over here indicating a very, very long distance, but I feel like you're going to either be planning a trip or you're going to take a trip this week. And I mean, this could be something like for me personally, anything that's like 20 minutes in any other direction will take me to a different city where I live. I actually live in the country, so you know, that might be a trip for me. When I used to live in a bigger city, a trip for me would be something that was like about 45 minutes to an hour away. You know, it just depends on what that range is for you. You know, another thing is like, I'm personally planning, I live in the States, and I'm personally planning a trip to Australia, right? And this week, there's a couple of things that I need to take care of that has to do with that trip. So if I had picked this pile, I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, there's that new stuff I need to do. I do need to get that thing squared away, and I hadn't done it yet. And it's something that I just thought of that I wanted to do as well when I'm in Australia. So it would be like something like that, okay? So, you know, it can apply in a lot of different ways. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that it happens in the physical. It could be just about planning, okay? But I mean, this is something that's going to bring something new to your life too, okay? So it's not like, you know, so I'm talking about this, you know, I'm not talking about going to a neighboring city to get groceries. I'm talking about going to a neighboring city and like maybe meeting somebody important, or doing something important that's going to change something, or planning to go to a different place to meet somebody that's important, or doing something that's important, or experiencing something, etc., that kind of stuff. Okay, guys? Either way, you guys have a really, really eventful, nice week, except for this waiting, okay? And I don't even feel like the waiting's really that big of a deal. It's just like, oh, bummer, you're just not going to get it this week. That's it, you know? Maybe by the end, but probably not until next week, okay? All right, guys. That's very, very positive. Okay. Those of you who picked pile number 2, the Gray Tabby, here is your reading. We have the Page of Swords, okay? We have the High Priestess, and we have the Seven of Pentacles, okay? We have the Cloud and the Heart, okay? I'm going to go ahead and put these over here. We have Honesty, and we have Imagination. Okay. Wow. Okay. So we've got a lot. One thing that I am noticing here is that we've got a lot going on over the whole spectrum. Okay. So you're going to have an eventful week in that you're going to be doing a little bit of stuff in every single area of your life. Okay. With the Page of Swords and the Honesty coming up, I feel like this is talking about communication. Obviously, this is associated with the throat chakra. And so we're talking about, you know, truth, transparency, sincerity, you know, obviously communication. And the Page of Swords for me is a communication card. And it's communicating clearly because, you know, you see the clouds here, but they're not like gray like they are here. We've got a nice clear sky, right? And we've got air that, you know, our voices are carried on the air. Even if you don't have to speak using your voice, we also speak through our words and music and action and all that kind of stuff too. It's just I get clear speaking that has to do with being honest. And then we also have the element air. I don't know if you can see it, but this card is associated. Let me see if I can. Yeah. Sorry, guys, it's backwards. This card is associated with the element air, and I just wanted to make sure you could see that. So we've got like 3 indicators that air is a big deal. Almost a 4th one with that, but I'll get to that in just a minute. So basically, what we're doing here is that we're communicating clearly. This would be the biggest theme this week, is making sure that you're very transparent, you're communicating clearly. Try to catch yourself if you're doing any of those like mind games, you know. Sometimes I do them without meaning to, and I don't mean, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's like people have different ways of communicating, okay? And some ways are just very, very direct. They're like, you know what, I've just been feeling a little insecure and I've been wanting more attention from you, right? Versus, you know, some people, their natural way of handling things is like, oh yeah, well you don't care about me, well then I'm gonna go talk to Bob a lot, you know. It's like they don't even realize what they're doing is like, you know, consciously really, that they're trying to make this person jealous, you know. Well, Bob can help me and you can't, you know, or you know, and you know, I feel hurt, you know. It's like they're not saying it directly, okay? And that's what I mean, you know. And you know, try to catch yourself if you're doing anything like that. And really, there's no judgment there. I do it all the time, okay? I'm just saying it's going to be real important this week. Like, if you want to get stuff done, if you want to get what you want, you've got to communicate in a really, what is the word? Assertive way, okay? And that just means just being straight up honest about what it is that you want. And for those of you who might need to be talking to a partner or a love interest about this, I just want to tell you that in my experience, and I'm 38, you know, maybe I don't have a whole lot of experience, but in my experience, I've noticed that when I have something to communicate to someone, you know, they tend to be so much more receptive of me when I'm just like, hey, look, you know, I've been feeling a little jealous lately. Or, hey, you know what, I know it's irrational, but I've just been feeling like you don't care about me. You know, it's stuff like that. You know, just be honest about it, whatever it is. You know, if it's not a partner, it should work anyway, you know, if it's not a love interest. But I just wanted to say that extra thing, because I think for some of us, for some of you, it's going to be about communicating with somebody that you really care about like that. We also have intuition, big intuition stuff going on right now. So do trust that, okay? We have this kind of paired with this imagination as well. So do understand that sometimes when we come up with new ideas, it's because we're receiving intuition in a way that has inspired us, okay? And I know that, like, people have certain definitions of intuition, like, oh, well, it has to be a vision, or it has to be contact from the other side, or it's got to be this or that. You know, try not to define it so much, and just know that when you experience that kind of rush of, oh, I want to do this, or whatever it is, you know, and it's not a negative feeling, you know, that could be like some of that can be coming from just this intuitive process that you have that you might not even know is intuitive, just telling you, you know, yeah, like giving you that extra push to get excited about something, okay? There is going to be I don't feel like you're going to have financial problems, because I don't have any extra cards that show that, but I do have, I do think that you're going to be looking at your finances this week and just kind of trying to make a plan to, you know, just kind of get on top of things and that kind of thing. I don't feel like it's going to be an issue, but, you know, there might be a specific thing that you're, that you want to get taken care of. But this is like for example, the last group, they had like something that they were waiting for that had to do with finances or material, okay? This is more like just kind of looking at your financial, I guess, health, taking its temperature and then trying to find a way to adjust it to where it's perfectly healthy, that kind of thing. All right? So yeah, and again, imagination, don't be afraid to be creative. Sometimes we really want to go by the book and all of that. If you have a creative impulse on a way to solve a problem that's a little maybe eccentric or might seem out there, I would suggest go ahead and follow it a little bit. I understand taking risks like that. I'm not telling you guys to take really ridiculous risks. What I'm telling you is just, experiment with the intuition, the imagination that you're getting, just to see how it plays out, okay? And in the areas where you can do that and feel comfortable enough, okay? Because again, I don't mean like, oh well, I just imagined that this one company is going to do really well, so I'm going to move all of my stocks and then invest all of my savings into this. Like, seriously, I mean, do that if you want, but that's not me telling you to. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying, explore those creative impulses, because they're worth exploring, I think. Okay, so you guys got the heart, okay? So it's like, well, that's really positive, right? Because we're talking about love, right? But then we've got it modified by the cloud. Now, that's not necessarily bad. It just means kind of the opposite of what this air, honesty, and Page of Swords is talking about, okay? So I feel like this is the advice, and this is more like the warning. In matters of the heart, okay? In matters that you really care about, and in matters of connection with people, okay? Does, again, like I said before, it doesn't have to be a romantic partner or somebody you're interested in. But because we had the heart, that's why I mentioned it here. Things might be a little unclear. Things might be a little cloudy this week, okay? The way we combat that, the way that we clear that up is by being really honest ourselves and being really honest, and being really clear ourselves. Make sure that we're communicating as clearly as possible. That's what's gonna make these clouds just go away. So, sometimes when we look at the week ahead readings, we'll get a warning. And I feel like this is more like, if this doesn't happen, if you're not honest, if you're not, kind of being a straight shooter this week, that kind of thing, be prepared that there could be some confusion and cloudy thoughts. It could even be a little oppressive, maybe even depressive, when we're talking about this, just because there's not going to be a lot of clarity there, okay? And do remember that whole concept of mirroring. And now I'm not talking about anything that has to do with spirit or anything that has to do with reading cards or psychic abilities. I'm just talking about pure psychology. When we come to somebody with a certain energy, they tend to mirror us as long as they like us, right? So as long as you're being pleasant with somebody, they're going to like you. And as long as you're coming to them and being straight with them, then they'll be straight with you. And that's the kind of mirroring that I'm talking about, the psychological mirroring. So do keep that in mind as well, because that's kind of the principle that this is kind of talking about. But anyway, it does look like things are going to be good. You're just going to be focusing on a lot of different stuff, okay? Creativity, make sure you're honest and clear, a lot of intuitive insight, money, and love. Just got everything. All right, guys. Alrighty. Okay, hi. Those of you who picked the third pile, the Spotted Cat, here's your reading. Okay, don't worry. Okay, I understand this can sometimes be worrisome, but we've got to look at the whole spread. Okay, we've got the 3 of Swords, the 10 of Rods, and then we have the 10 of Cups. All right. So for this reading, we have the Bouquet, modified by the Garden. Okay, we have Inspiration, and then we have Ethics. Okay, Ethos. All right. The one that strikes me the most looking at this spread right here is ethics right here, okay? This is about being true to what you believe and what your it's like authenticity, but it's kind of it's almost like a little bit more than that. It's more like your convictions, okay? If I feel like your convictions might be tested, or you might be kind of triggered to express something that you feel really strongly about. Maybe it's something like you really feel strongly about bullying and you see bullying happen. Or it could be, or it could be something like you really feel strongly about a political idea, and so you take political action. It's anything like that. But I feel like that's gonna be a theme this week for you. So keep that in mind. If you don't know what to do, go by what you believe in, what moves you to action. Go by your convictions. All right, that's important. And then we have like inspiration. With ideas, spark, conception, and impulse. I feel like these two are connected. Usually there's a clear indicator that cards are connected, but I feel like this one is like, for me, it's a more intuitive level that this is connected. I feel like we've got the crown chakra mentioned in this particular card. They are the Chakra Insight Oracle by Karen Sangster, and I feel like this is about finding your spark, finding your natural spark, your own divinity, that kind of stuff. So that can definitely play out with your convictions and what you believe. All right, especially anything involving ethics can be a indicator of our religious dogma. Or our spiritual understanding of the world, okay? It doesn't necessarily have to be directly connected to that, though. And I'm only mentioning that again because of the crown chakra. Inspiration as well, especially for those of you who do creative endeavor as a job, like you're a musician or an actor or a singer, or maybe you make props. I actually have a friend that makes props for plays, and she is incredible. You wouldn't even believe how amazing it is. People who do that are insanely awesome to me. But yeah, just know that you're going to be inspired this week. So it'll be like a busy week for those of you who do that. For those of you who aren't usually moved to do that, you might be noticing that your creative endeavor is going to be kind of kicking it up. Just explore it, see what happens. Again, this could go for writers, directors, just anybody who, uses a form of media, of art, to communicate something greater to the world. Okay, and that's what this is talking about. And then we have usually the bouquet can mean several different things, in the Lenormand, okay? But with this, I feel like there's going to be something that is particularly beautiful that's going to happen to you in public, okay? Something moving, again, with this ethos and this inspiration, this moving. I feel, it doesn't even feel like it's emotional so much. Sometimes we'll have weeks where we might kind of feel a little like, gosh, I'm really going through something here, because you're feeling really, really emotional. It's not even that. It's like it's like inspired. I didn't even think about that connection until just now. But yeah, it's like you're inspired, We've got the garden, and then we've got the bouquet, right? Let me make sure this is... Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. I am so sorry. Let's reset, okay? I apologize. There's the paths, and then there's the bouquet. The garden in this particular deck looks really similar to the past. Okay, so what we've got now, that even makes even more sense to me in the in the context of inspiration too. When you're faced with a decision this week, if you are, okay, or when you're thinking about making decisions, know to pick the thing that is more beautiful to you, more moving, more inspiring to you. That makes so much more sense why the inspiration and the ethos is in here, is that we've got paths instead of the garden. Because I was gonna say, sometimes we misinterpret things. Sometimes we see something else, and there's a reason for it. And I really feel moved to go ahead and mention that too, because I feel like there was an important message there for some of you guys. What I was going to say is that this is also kind of like being individuated, like being your own self, again, authenticity. Because what I was seeing was like, okay, so there's a garden, and then there's this like beautiful like arrangement of plants all in one spot, and that represents the viewer. So it's like you're going to be really beautiful out in public. You're going to be really really treasured. There's something very attractive about you. Yeah, it still works because that would make people decide to come your way, like with the pads and everything. So do understand that that might have been something I was supposed to get anyway. I was meant to interpret that wrong as the garden rather than the paths. I could have looked at the number, but whatever. So do keep that in mind. You might find yourself standing out this week as well, and it could be because of, the creative endeavor that I was talking about earlier. Either way, I feel like your focus is a lot on what inspires you, what moves you, what is beautiful to you, okay? And beauty doesn't necessarily have to be just on the surface. It can be like beautiful, like depth, things that have a lot of depth, a lot of meaning, and that kind of stuff. Beauty is just the best word I can think of to describe this, okay? So let's deal with this over here, okay? Here's the deal. When I look at this particular spread, what I see is that there's heartache and there's a burden, okay? There's something that was very, very hurtful, okay, that you've been carrying around with you, okay? I feel like this week you're going to get an opportunity to kind of, it's almost like, it's not that you can go back and change that happened. You can't. But it's like you can change how you're responding to it this week. And I feel like that's going to ensure a happier future. So it looks like you're going to be doing some work with involving some past trauma that you've been carrying around with yourself. Now, understand, most people cannot get over past trauma in a week, okay? So I'm not saying that this is just confined to this 7-day period. But what I do feel is that there's going to be a lightening of a burden as a result of a choice you make. It could be over here too, this choice. The two paths tend to mean a choice, a fork in the road. Which way are you going to go? That you're going to make a choice to live lighter, okay? And look at this and decide that you're not going to let that hold you back anymore, that kind of thing. Now, it's painful to bring up past trauma, yes. But it's so much more painful to not bring it up and never deal with it, right? So ultimately it's going to be a positive thing, but you might be experiencing some heaviness from that this week, okay? Just know that if you do find yourself kind of coming back to like a pattern in your life that keeps happening, or something that's been really frustrating for you, really think, is there something I believe? Is there something from my past that is really affecting the way that I'm dealing with this, and how can I change this cycle, and that kind of thing. And you should be able to lighten your load by thinking about it that way, okay? All right, guys, so this looks like a very it looks like you're going to be doing a lot of work this week, but it also looks like it's going to be a very fulfilling week for you guys. All right, guys? Okay. All right, those of you who picked the Tuxedo Cat, here is your reading. We have the 5 of Coins, the Chariot, and the Fool. We have the Letter, which is modified by the Ring. We have Taking Action, and we have Masculine, or the Lord, or the God, which is male, not goddess, okay? So for those of you who are women, you're going to be in a lot of masculine energy this week. That doesn't necessarily mean anything negative. Consider reading up on Jung and the Animus. For those of you who are interested in the psychological aspect of that. There's also a lot of spiritual information out there on divine masculine and getting into your masculine energy for different purposes. Of course, it's very important that we stick with our feminine energy as well, those of you who are women that are watching this. And it's because the world right now is kind of out of balance. There's a lot more masculine energy than feminine energy in the world, and the world could stand to be a little bit more receptive and nurturing and that kind of stuff. But for you personally, you're gonna be in this masculine energy because you're gonna be getting stuff done. You're gonna be taking action. You're gonna be moving forward. You're gonna be it's like you're penetrating rather than, you know, just being an open vessel to receive, right? And those of you who are men that are watching this, understand that it's like you're going to feel very powerful. You're going to be feeling in your power, okay? So this is a very, very positive thing here, okay? This is also being backed up by the Chariot, moving forward, okay? We've got a balance, though, here of black and white. This could be the feminine and masculine principle. So do keep that in mind, especially those of you who are women who are feminine. You know, you're a woman, so you're feminine. I'm not talking about gender fluidity. I'm just talking about you're feminine because you are a woman. And then there's the masculine inside of you that you're getting in control. You know, you've got more in touch with this week, and that those two aspects, you're moving forward with both kinds of energy. So we've got the Chariot about moving forward. We've got the Fool about willing to take a risk. Generally, it's a masculine trait to take risks, to be bold, to go out into the world, you know, and doing things like that. Even if the risk is internal, okay? So we've got that. And then we have this indication right here, especially like at the beginning of the week, it's going to feel a little out of balance. This can go either way. Either at the very beginning of the week, you're going to feel out of balance because you're stepping into more masculine energy, even for those of you guys who are men. Or it could just be that you're feeling an imbalance between your feminine energy and your masculine energy. You've been using a lot of feminine energy lately, and it's like time to call upon that masculine energy. But it's very clear to me that that's what's going on. Over here, we've got this little aside. Expect to get some kind of like document, a letter maybe, or a text. Probably not a text because it feels more official. It's something that indicates that you're going to enter into some kind of contract, okay? This could be a job offer. It could be, I mean, it could be something really small, like you know, I mean, it could be something small like, okay, well, the terms and conditions have changed on this thing that you're a part of, and you have to sign that you're gonna be doing that. For a few of you, this could be a proposal, just because we have the ring and the letter. It's just for me, and I know that different people do it different ways, so whatever. But for me, it seems like that might be an inappropriate way to propose, but I suppose for other people it might be the best way. I don't know. But it's just, you know, and when I say inappropriate, I just mean like usually this kind of thing isn't so much, it's not in person, you know, it's not real personalized. Usually it's either a document or a text or an email, or a form letter kind of thing. Although I'm sure it could be a love letter or something like that as well. But it's like, you know, I feel like this is more like, you know, we've got the ring, you know, it represents contracts, you know, and of course the contract of marriage is one contract, but just any kind of contract in general, okay? So this is something else that's going on. For any of you guys this is interesting because I've gotten this with 2 other readings already, okay? This might have to be a financial contract. So there might just be something going on either astrologically or just like a general energy of the world right now where people are getting their finances in order, because it feels like this could have to do with finances, okay? Alrighty, guys. Yeah, that would make sense why this card could also have a double meaning of feeling a little out of balance, like literally with your finances, especially since it's a coin card. Yeah. But anyway, it does look like you're going to have a really positive and effective week. You're going to be getting things done, which is great. All right. Hi, those of you who picked the Siamese Cat, here is your reading. We've got the King of Cups, we've got the Devil, and we've got the Page of Wands. All right. So we have the Tower, and that's modified by the stars. We've got the base chakra, and we have a manifestation. All right, guys, so this is really clear to me what's going on. You know, I do have to say this, you know, for me, I see a very simple one message thing with most of these cards, okay? What I see is that there's somebody in your life that either you're going to be opening up to or they're going to be opening up to you, and you're going to be exchanging your feelings. This is a relationship that there's something about it that might not be so, there's something about it that might not feel so 100% pure, okay? That's the best way I can describe it. Like, there might be something a little bit naughty about it, or a little forbidden maybe. And we've got a lot of sexual energy here. With the base chakra, we've got sexual energy. With manifestation, you know, that definitely you know, I see that as things happening in the physical world, okay? So when we're talking about the physical world, we've got the base chakra involved, we've got the devil and the page of wands with his staff and his passion and all of that, you know. We've got a situation here which, for me, immediately tells me that there's some kind of sexual tension that's going to either be resolved or is going to come up this week for you guys. That said, I do recognize that I do have a bias to read these cards in that way, so I do want to give you an alternate general reading on these cards, that it could mean something else, okay? Just because. All right? So we've got the King of Cups and we've got the Devil. The Devil can also represent temptation in general, okay? We've got a cup here. Maybe some of you guys are going to be tempted to drink, and maybe you've made a decision that you don't want to drink as much, okay? Be careful about that kind of stuff. Any kind of substance abuse, be careful about that kind of stuff. Especially, you know, doing that on impulse, okay? It would be something that would come from a very base level. It would be something that, you know, just wouldn't be a positive thing, okay? So do be aware of that. Also be aware that you just might find out that somebody in your life, just because it's a king, it doesn't mean that it has to be a male. It could be female too. For those of you who are interested in women, the King of Cups, you know, we're talking about somebody who is expressing their emotions in a very, very mature way. So it could be that you just have a Capricorn here that's expressing their emotions. The Devil card is associated with Capricorn, so that's why I say that. And then we've got expressing their emotions, and maybe also, you know, their passion, and maybe even some, you know, sexual energy there, okay? It could be that you're just getting some of your basic needs met this week that you feel like you've been missing out on, okay? So I do want to provide you guys with that, okay? Regardless of whether or not this is manifesting this kind of sexual energy here or not, the manifestation card here is also talking about just anything general. Like, if you've been planting seeds, basically, and I mean that metaphorically, if you've been kind of thinking, you know, gosh, I'd really like to do that, I'd really like to do that, and, you know, I kind of want to buy this or whatever, you might notice that this week the universe is going to be providing you answers to some of those questions. It's going to be, you know, nurturing those seeds so that they're going to start growing. You're going to start seeing some evidence that they're coming back towards you. Maybe you'll find that thing you want to purchase on sale for like half off or something like that, you know? So you do have a lot of manifesting power right now as well. Okay, and then we have something here which is a little bit odd for me. The way that it can be interpreted, especially since it doesn't have much else to do with this stuff. Although it could have to do with manifestation. I feel like some kind of organization. This would be like maybe a church, a school, a university. A very large corporation or something like that. There's something about that that's going to either give you direction, or maybe you're going to decide to join this organization, or this organization is going to have whatever it is, it's a positive impact on your life, okay? That's the main message I'm getting from this, with the stars being destiny and the tower often representing organizations. Now, I do want to say that the tower can also represent isolation as well, okay? And so it can also represent like that introverted principle, okay? So if you know, this could also be and I really feel like this isn't so much about your own introversion. So even if you're introverted, I don't feel like it's about that. I feel like it would be more like, yes, you're supposed to be with this introverted person, or you're supposed to be drawn to an introvert. But I really feel that for most of you, like 80% of you, it's going to be the corporation thing or the organization, that kind of thing. Because, this represents like some kind of public organization, something that's really, generally well known, or it's, well known enough, that kind of thing. So do keep that in mind as well. This looks exciting. I just have to say that. It looks exciting to me. I mean, I understand that there are ways of interpreting where this would not be exciting at all, and it would be actually very destructive, okay? And I don't want to minimize that. But it looks like whatever this is, however this is going to be manifesting in your life, it's going to be interesting. Those of you who are okay with sharing that with me, I'm really interested in how this plays out this week for you guys, okay? You can either leave a comment, or you can just write me directly at my email, which is in the description, okay? Because that's an interesting combination of cards there. All right, hi, pile number 6. Those of you who picked the Persian Cat, here is what we have. We have the 2 of Coins, the Ace of Cups, the Knight of Wands. We've got the Tree, which is modified by the mice. Okay, we've got Insight, and we've got Hex. We've got a Banishment. Okay, it's really interesting because I do feel like these go together. I feel like these go together, and this is kind of like a theme here. So yeah, you're going to be, right now your third eye chakra is going to be the kind of energy that you're dealing with, which is, which does have to do with vision. It has to do with, kind of higher thinking, the mind, and that kind of thing. It has to do with intuition as well, okay? So it's like there's this awakening, there's this understanding, there's this awareness of something that's going on in your life. It's almost like you're reading between the lines, but what you're reading between the lines is more loud and more obvious than what the lines actually say. I know I use a lot of metaphor when I'm trying to explain these, but it seems like it's the only way I can really think of to do it. It's almost like you're going to be knowing things without knowing how you know, okay? Like without any physical evidence, you're just really going to figure things out, okay? This Hex, this Banishment, it's really interesting. We've got something that's been kind of nagging at you that either has to do with your health or might have to do with your personal growth. It could be your family. It could be that you need to get rid of something that's been affecting your health or been affecting your family. But I don't feel like this is like, like a pox on you, the viewer. I'm not saying that. I feel like this is more like you need to get rid of something in your life that's been kind of bothering you, been eating away at you. That's what the mice do. They eat away at things. I don't want to scare anybody, but, the tree does tend to represent health. So just listen to your body. I mean, I'm getting intuitively that is not going to apply to most of you. It's not going to apply to most of you that you have like anything major going on with your health at all. I'm just getting that, do pay attention to your body because the tree tends to represent health, but it also represents, branching out. It can represent growth, and it can represent the family. So do understand that. I feel like for most of you, this is going to be representing the family. There's a family member that's been eating away at you. It's just been kind of nagging you or bothering you, and it's like getting to the point where it's toxic, and it's like you've got to just get rid of that. I don't even mean that you have to sever the communication completely, although for some of you that might be the answer. I'm just saying that just kind of distance yourself from that for a little while, and this week you'll feel like that's what you need to do, okay? Over here, let's look at this. This is interesting. We've got some kind of new emotional prospect. So I feel like for those of you who are single, you're either going to be meeting somebody new, or for those of you who are with somebody, or you have just met somebody, there's going to be some kind of, emotional awakening there, okay? So this even involves people who have crushes on somebody, or who are really interested in somebody that hasn't necessarily reciprocated, that kind of thing. Do understand that those emotions, somebody's going to be expressing their emotions. I feel like it's the other person, not you, okay? And it's like new, okay? We do also have a little bit of turbulence here in the background. This is one of my cards that indicates a long-distance relationship. I don't feel like that's going to apply to all of you, obviously, but I do mention it when I get it. This could indicate, with this going on, that there could be a second person, those of you who are already with somebody, who is kind of coming into your life to kind of maybe challenge your current relationship, or maybe act as a temptation, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind as well. We also have somebody moving forward with a lot of passion. I just don't feel like when I sit with it and I think, is this the viewer? It just does not feel right. It feels there's too much tension there inside of me. So again, I really feel like this is somebody else in your life. You, the viewer, it's going to be somebody else who's going to be moving forward with you with passion, with a lot of intensity. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be romantic. And again, this doesn't even mean that, this doesn't even actually mean that it has to be romantic. It's just these three cards together, for me, indicate romance, okay? This could be just that you're opening up emotionally, and you've decided to take action to be friends with somebody who's been like wanting to, go out and just, get something to drink together or something like that. I mean, it could be something very, very simple like that. Whatever it is, though, it's causing a little bit of turbulence. It's going to shake you up. Okay, and that can be good and that can be bad. It's gonna shake you up, okay? And so this, this is gonna be the main focus. I feel like it's gonna be more of a focus in this, definitely. And then the insight thing's just gonna be throughout the whole week. But yeah, there's gonna be somebody coming in this week. It might be. I mean, for most of you, it's gonna be somebody you already know. But the newness. This refers to just this new emotional openness, or this emotional expression. And again, I feel like the person moving forward with passion is not you, it's another person. So keep that in mind. All right, so you've got a lot of useful information this week, definitely. And again, I feel like I really need to make sure you guys know, please don't worry about this being your health, because even though for some of you it might be, I don't get that it's a major thing, okay? It's just like a minor adjustment, like, yeah, I shouldn't drink as many sodas, that kind of thing. Or, yeah, I need to give up drinking coffee before bed, that kind of thing, not like something huge, okay? I just wanted to make sure you understood with some examples there. Alrighty. Thank you so much for staying till the end of my video. As always, I really appreciate all the feedback, the likes, the subscribes, the comments. You guys are great. I love the community that we have been building together, and I just want to let you know that I do read all of your comments. I just don't have the time or the ability to respond to each and every one of you. Understand that Shannon, my very, very best friend and business partner, does make sure that everything that needs my attention will get to my attention. So for example, if you want to leave me an idea for a pick a card reading, or if you have a question that needs my attention, he'll make sure that I get that, okay? Sometimes I'm busier than other times, and so I might not get to it immediately, but I will get to it, okay? I do want to say, as always, these are general readings. They're going to apply to the general public. If you want something more specific, I can get a lot more detailed and specific to your situation in a private reading, okay? I'm just letting you know that that's available. And again, you can find that in my description. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.